to another Market Monday update. We're going to take a look at some booster boxes that are dipping in price, which is a very good opportunity for you guys to buy. We're also going to take a look at some of the other boxes and booster boxes of Scarlet and Violet era, as well as some of the singles. And I'm also going to touch base on some of the items that are going to be coming out in Japan for Terrestrial Festival that some of you might not have seen before that you might want to grab if you like really cool Pokemon accessories. And some of the data I'm going to be giving you today is also based upon some distribution information that I got from our distributors as well. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and look at Surging Sparks, the most obvious set to talk about. Surging Sparks still over $200 a box, actually at $210 now for the cheapest listing with shipping, which is a lot, and that's before tax. We haven't seen a dip in price. Like, there's been a little bit of oscillation in here, but it's like a few bucks down, a few bucks up, but still constantly moving upwards. We still do not have anything at distribution level. I use PhD and Southern Hobby, two very big, very reputable distributors, and the sales numbers are way up when it comes to things like that, and this is just not budging right now. I do think that there's a lot of slowdown when it comes to sales, though. The only people I think that are realistically buying this right now a lot are people that are having to break open product for breaks and online shops like TikTok Shop, breakers for drip and whatnot. I think realistically, those are the people that are buying these right now. I really don't think a lot of collectors are buying them at this price. I think it's a lot of just breakers that are having to pop these apart, and most of them are charging between $6 and $8 a pack. So they're still getting a little bit of margin when it comes to that if they're selling at that price point. So I realistically think that's what you're seeing a lot of people purchase right now. I think a lot of people that are buying these to hold, they're waiting for some kind of restock a little bit later down the road, or they're maybe using TikTok Shop coupons, which I highly recommend. If you guys go over to TikTok Shop, they do have coupons this time of year. You might be able to snag a good deal on anything related to Pokemon, not just Surging Sparks. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the singles. The Pikachu, guys, still holding at that $400 price point. It's been selling anywhere, though, from like 380 all the way up to 485 over the last couple days. You'll see some in here 395, and these are near mint hollow foil, but then you also see some at 485, and that was yesterday. We're filming this video on November the 25th, 10 a.m. So I do think that a lot of this has to do with people wanting to cash in on profits and get that money towards Prismatic Evolutions, because the pre-order situation for Prismatic is an absolute disaster right now. Bots are chewing up all the pre-orders, and it's just impossible to get anything at retail right now on websites because all the Twitters and the Discords are alerting people. So on top of bots eating a lot of it up, there's just a lot of natural demand because people are like, oh, I got an alert, let me go buy these real quick. So I feel like people are overspending on Prismatic Evolutions because of the bot system. And because of the ping system that alerts you whenever those things come available. So I do think a ton of people are going to be sitting on a lot of Prismatic Evolutions at release. So we'll see what happens. But we got the Latias EX, which is still holding at $200. Very surprised, actually, because I personally think that this is one of the weaker artworks in the set, but that's a personal preference. Still holding between $200 and $210 on recent sales, and these are over the last couple days. Not a whole lot sold yesterday. A decent amount sold on Saturday, though, still in that 240 range almost. Wow, a couple of these almost at 240 a piece. So still pretty strong with the Latias EX. And the other card that I was very surprised to see hold at $100 is the Gold Pikachu. Now, we don't usually see the gold cards hold a significant price point unless it's a card that sees a ton of play in the meta, like Earthen Vessel from Shrouded Fable or Night Stretcher, which is also from this set. Cards like that are usually the gold cards that are going to hold true because those are the best max rarity versions for people that play the game. That's typically what drives the prices of those up, because people need 3 and 4 copies in the majority of their decks to play, and that is what makes them harder to get, because there are a lot of people that play the game, contrary to popular belief. A lot of people play the game, guys, not just collect, I promise. And then my Milotic. This is my favorite artwork in the set when it comes to the SARs, and it is finally starting to move back in the upwards direction here. You were able to get these as low as 80, but I think the lowest listing is close to 100 now with shipping, maybe. No, actually, you got a couple of them in here. Now, this is another thing. I have seen a lot of new sellers with no sales data, guys, and I did a lot of ordering of 151 singles last month, and I don't recommend ordering from these people that have 0% sales data, because most of them don't know how to ship. They're shipping to you in top loaders with tape, which can ruin the top of the cards easily with no extra sleeves or no double sleeving of the cards. I do recommend making sure that you guys get a reputable seller. Just look at how many people are selling on here with 0% sales. You're going to be taking a decent sized risk if you guys are buying from them. Just giving you notice, because if there's any small issues with the card, whitening or small dings or anything like that, the card can still be considered near mint hollow according to TCG players guidelines. So keep that in mind, guys. Just because a card has whitening or like a small ding in it or something like that, they could still technically list that card as near mint, and it does not go against the TOS of TCG Player. So please be aware if you guys are purchasing from people that have 0% sales data, okay? All right, next up, we're gonna talk about Temporal Forces booster boxes. These are finally starting to go up a little bit now. We haven't seen like a big major restock or anything of these, so I do think that you will eventually get another buying opportunity for this, similar to Paldea Evolved and Obsidian Flames last month and then earlier this month. I do think that these boxes, you'll probably get a chance someday in the near future. I would say within the next 4 or 5 months that we'll probably see another small surge of these go to distributors. We haven't gotten that yet, so hopefully we do see that. We were able to get these as part of a bundle recently, but we weren't able to order them in mass. Not as much as like Paradox Rift, Paldea Evolved, and Obsidian Flames. Those we were able to order way more of. And the current market price is back to $130. Recent sales sold at $140, but these guys, you were able to get these for $100 a month ago, around $100-$105. And lowest listing with shipping right now is looking at like almost $140, so instead of $130. So it says market price $130, but lowest listing on TCG Player before tax with shipping, you're looking at about $140. And the set has some amazing artworks in it. I do think that the Raging Bolt, I'm not a fan of the Pokemon design itself, but I think this artwork is absolutely phenomenal. This card was all the way down to $60 at one point. It came all the way back. It's showing about $90 with shipping on some copies here for Nearman Holofoil. You are able to get some under 80, but again, you guys are looking at some sellers that have 0%. There is a listing here though for under 80 with shipping for someone that does have tons of sales, which is nice to see. So around $80 is what you're looking to spend on Raging Bolt right now. Fantastic artwork. I love the ancient Pokemon and future Pokemon from the set. All of them. I think they all look fantastic. Even though Iron Boulder wasn't that, amazing, I just still think the artwork's on it good. And then you got Morty's Conviction, which Gengar cards typically, some of the trainer cards with specific Pokemon that are popular usually do well long term. I don't know what to expect with this because I don't think Morty is a super popular trainer, but Gengar being a super popular Pokemon will probably carry this card later in the future. Just a ton of oscillation with it in like that 30 to 36 range that you're going to see, but it's a Gengar card, so you just never know. Somebody might try to kind of manipulate that in the future, but I think that's going to be really the only way you see a crazy spike in it. So another good opportunity there. All right, now let's talk about Twilight Masquerade. Now this one actually has got me super confused. So we haven't been updated anything from distro. We haven't been able to get any extra from Southern Hobby. We haven't been able to get any extra from PhD. The only thing I've been able to buy are ETBs and check lane blisters of Twilight, and we have seen a massive drop, and this is more massive than you guys think. These were selling for $170 to $180, even when the Pokemon Center still had these in stock. So I guess people finally started to realize, oh, why am I buying off TCG Player? If I'm going to spend that much money, I might as well just buy it off Pokemon Center. But this has dropped all the way down to $140. Now, there were a bunch of sales on here yesterday and today for $134. And I think these were all from the same seller. I wasn't able to confirm if these are all from the same seller, but a ton of sales at $134. So I think someone's just unloading a bunch of product to try to make way maybe for Terrestrial Festival in Japanese. I almost didn't say that right. In Japanese. If they want to free up some capital, if they have a ton of stuff that they have to free up, and that's coming out in a week and a half. So we have that right around the corner, as well as Prismatic Evolutions at the beginning of next year in January. So maybe trying to tie up or loosen up some capital so they can have some money to spend. And I do think that Twilight Masquerade is probably the easiest to move if they drop the price, because people see the price point drop significantly below market and want to buy it. Now, the boxes have dropped, but Greninja is still holding at the same price point that it still has been for a while, over $300. It was as high as $330, $340, but we're still looking at sales in that $320 range pretty much consistently. But the purchases on TCG Player have slowed down significantly, so way less people buying the actual single. Look at this. We have the 25th all the way through the 22nd on the same sheet on the front page, which is very rare right now because a ton of people are buying Pokemon cards and chase cards and boxes. So to see this many dates on one of the popular cards on the front page is telling us that people are slowing down with the purchase of this card. More people, I think, are trying to concentrate on some other stuff, but it also means that people are holding and not selling and undercutting. So I do think that this price will hold pretty strong unless we see a big kind of reprint in the next couple weeks or the next few months on Greninja. I don't know what to expect long-term on it. I do think that there will be a time where this card drops back down into the mid to low 200s. I do think Twilight Masquerade will see some kind of restock or reprint eventually, but it just depends on if people are going to try to cash in on those. Now, remember, guys, this is all speculation when it comes to things like that, because you just never know how the consumers are going to react, right? So it can go down to 250 if people decide to cash in and take sales. Similar to what happened with Pikachu, right? If you're like, okay, I want to take profits, take profits instead of hold. So it's possible on Greninja that people just want to hold and not sell, so it's still going to hold that price point. So it's literally a coin flip when it comes to that. It depends on how the economy is doing, if people need to free up money to do other things. A lot of things go into factors of that, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that when it comes to purchasing collectibles of any type. Not just Pokemon cards. All right, next up, we got Paldean Fates. The Bubble Mew is still going crazy at that price point of $200. And let's go ahead and take a look at some sales data here. I think the sales yesterday were pretty solid. We had a decent amount of sales yesterday, but again, guys, it's not all one day of sales, which is nice to see. You're not seeing like 100 sales of the same card in the same day. So that means people are just not FOMOing in to pick it up. I do think a lot of these people are probably trying to pick up some copies either for decks, because Mew is seeing some play in decks. So you see a lot of LP holofoil sales, people trying to complete binders, or that they want to pick it up to play max rarity decks in the meta. A lot of people do that. A lot of people don't understand. Max rarity decks are a thing in the Pokemon TCG, so that's why you will see these LP sales, even at this higher price point, for people just wanting to pick up the card, because they don't care about the condition, because it's going to be shuffled into a deck that they're going to be playing at a local event. But still, cards going up. I think we will eventually see a small retracement in this, but currently at distro level, guys, we can't get any more Paldean Fates right now at my 2 distros, except for some very limited amounts of the bundles, the 6-pack bundles. No ETBs, the tech sticker collections are even gone. We haven't been able to pick those up. We were able to get some mini tins. And even these we can't get right now from Southern Hobby or from PhD. Now, my guess is they're probably holding back maybe a little bit to give us some kind of holiday bundle soon. So I'll give you guys an update on that whenever we see it, if I hear anything from distribution. We got the Charizard EX still moving up, guys. Finally caught back up to Bubble Mew, and then Bubble Mew said no, bye, and then took off again. So it is back up to $140, though. Again, another card that had a very good investment point. We made a video on this probably about a month and a half ago, end of September, beginning of October. I said that this and the Bubble Mew were pretty underpriced when the Bubble Mew had surpassed the Charizard. But look at this, $109. Still, like, from here, you still have a 30% gain almost. That is a lot in a small period of time for a card that has been declining. And also, not just that, it's a card that there's so many different versions of, right? So the Charizard EX has a lot of different versions. You have the promo version full art, you have the regular full art, you have the SAR from Obsidian Flames, and you have this one. Just a lot of different versions of it. Same thing with the Mew. The Mew also had a decent amount of versions too, along with the promo card from the premium collections of 151. So now this is what we've seen when it comes to the spoilers of the set. We got the Vaporeon, we got the Flareon. Now, Flareon and Jolteon were the ones that I hated the most when I saw the blurry photos, but they actually look much, much better with the clean photos. Flareon looks stunning. Jolteon actually looks a lot better too. I felt like it looked super derpy until we got the high res picture of it, but it still looks really good here. I think that's a good artwork as well. My least favorite is probably the Vaporeon, but they all look pretty clean. Other things to notice, guys, in some of the artworks, you have the crystal on the top. If you look, the Terapagos, the baby Terapagos, from the way they have it in the show, is kind of showing as the crystal here, and I think that's so cool. The way they have that kind of on its head there. You don't really see it in the Umbreon or some of the other cards. The Umbreon, by the way, absolutely beautiful. But one of my favorite spoilers is actually this Dragapult. I think this Dragapult is absolutely amazing. So happy that we got an SAR, because I was disappointed when we only got a full art in one of the previous sets, but I had a feeling that we were going to get a special illustration rare at some point, because it's Dragapult. It was definitely one of the more popular cards of the set, so I had a feeling we would get one eventually. And last, let's take a look at some of the products that you guys might want to try to scoop up from Pokemon Center Japan or some other Japanese distributors, if you guys can still get a hold of them. They have some collection filers or binders that look really, really nice with all the evolutions on it. They also have a black leather binded one with Pikachu on it that looks really, really nice. And then what's really cool is this fur Eevee covered deck box. So now this is a deck box that flips open, and it's completely like fur covered, like cotton. And I think this was just so cool. So if you guys are looking for very unique items, sleeves, thing like that, make sure you guys check out anybody that shops Japanese. I would reach out to Pokeani, see if he can get a hold of these for you. I think Crystal Collects is another one that goes through and sells some stuff like this. Or if you guys can go on Pokemon Center Japan, or even Pokemon on Amazon, if you guys use Amazon Japan, you might be able to get a hold of some of these products as well. But some really, really cool items, the binders, the posters, the dividers, some inserts for binders. I think these all look really, really cool. So don't miss out on stuff like this, because very unique accessories to Japanese releases are always nice to have too, especially when they're as cool as this Eevee. That's gonna do it for me today, everybody. Click one of the 2 videos here if you want to watch more Pokemon content. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see some of you on the live stream today, but until then, I'll see you on the next video or the next live, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.